What happens when you take a softcore trade player on Path of Exile who does things like... and this, that has loads of items that pop, like this one, or even this one. So what if we take them and we put them into the hardest game mode that Path of Exile currently has to offer? That is Solo Self Found Hardcore Ruthless mode. This is where the game mode has been increased so hard, the XP has been kind of cut at the kneecaps, and items have basically been removed from the game. It is going to be extremely difficult for me to transition over to this, but that is what this whole project is going to be about. It's going to be going from a softcore trade player who just follows guides to having to make my own way through the game, learn the different mechanics, and actually survive in that process. With the final goal being rank 1 of an ascendancy. Which one? I don't know yet, because Ruthless is going to decide what we are going to be playing. But to start with, the character that we're going to be playing is a Guardian, Minion's Guardian, because it's basically quite overpowered at the moment. It doesn't require a lot of gear to get started, and it's going to give us that little boost that we need just to get off the ground. So what I've done is I have played with a couple different characters. We started off as a Marauder because we wanted to get to breaking the eggs so that we could get ourselves a gem called Molten Shell. And the reason we want to do this is because you can't actually buy gems in this mode. So you get some quest rewards, which are great, but that's it really. You get a couple trades that you can do later on where you can get some active skill gems, but support-wise, there are none. You can't get any of them except for drops. So after picking up the Molten Shell from the Marauder, we set off to do the same thing with the Witch. Now the Witch was a little bit more difficult because we needed a few more gems. We started off with grabbing the Ray Zombie. We then got Summon Raging Spirit, Clarity, Flesh Offering, and lastly, in Act 2, we managed to get Desecrate. Now with all those gems safely tucked into our stash, it was time for us to start with our Templar. So we picked a unique name, and I think it makes sense. The elusive Giga Sheep, as Guardian seems to be dominating the meta at the moment. I am following a guide for this first one, purely because I'm not confident. However, once we get the hang of it, and I will admit, I have played a little bit of Ruthless for the last couple days, just to get myself in the right mindset. But we did a full wipe, and that's where we're going to start from now. So it went all right. We went through all the different sections of the axe. Brutus, I think, was definitely the hardest. As you can see, we were struggling a little bit to actually kill him, which was difficult. But Mervale, at the end of the day, wasn't too bad. One thing to note as well is, while we were running through, we actually got a support drop. And that isn't something that's meant to happen so early on. But we got Pierce. Now, I don't think we can use Pierce on our current character. We're not building any minions that are going to benefit from Pierce. So that's something that we can just keep in our stash, and if we decide that we want to continue with a bow build, maybe we can take Pierce. Or perhaps we can do some Spark. So, get a couple more support gems and see what we can build. And that I think is the most exciting thing about this challenge, is because so much stuff has been removed from the game, you are forced to actually think about every change that you make, whether or not that's from gear to changing your passive tree, because you don't really get regrets either. So making a change to your passive tree is a big commitment. At the same time, there's no divination cards. So just having divination cards drop in random locations, you can't target farm them because they don't exist. So you can't rely on anything there really. So uniques are pretty much just things you find on the ground. A lot of the ascendancies have been nerfed as well. So things like the Profane Bloom from the Occultist is no longer 50% chance to explode. It is now 20%. So there's a lot of changes that have been occurring. And it's something that we're going to have to think about. But for now, we've finished Act 1, we survived, and I think that's where this one's going to be finishing up. So if you guys have made it to this far in the video, I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys are going to stick around to support the rest of this challenge. How long it's going to go on for? Don't really know. We're 2 weeks into the league, and I'm just started off now, so there's a lot of catching up that we need to do. But we have another 2.5 months to go. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, any feedback is great, constructive criticism, and even just tips about the game and Ruthless itself would always be helpful. But remember, I'm still learning. And with that, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.